What was once thought only the stuff of science fiction movies is actually set to happen later today in outer space. For the first time in human history, NASA will attempt to slam a spaceship into an asteroid nearly 7 million miles away to change its course, all in the name of planetary defense.
What we've only seen in the movies could happen tonight.
We are moving an asteroid. We are changing the motion of a natural celestial body in space. Humanity has never done that before.
To do that, NASA is hoping to smash a spacecraft into an asteroid nearly 7 million miles away from Earth.
It is a little like a bug crashing into an SUV.
About the size of a vending machine, NASA's DART spacecraft will be flying 14,000 miles an hour when it slams into Dimorphos, a small moon orbiting the asteroid Didymos.
The moon they're trying to hit is only 525 feet across. So if you think Statue of Liberty, think about the pyramids, it's kind of in that scale.
The impact will not destroy Dimorphos, but NASA aims to nudge it off its course by as much as 10 minutes.
It's a very small change, but it's a proof of concept. They want to prove that you have the ability to deflect an asteroid if they ever spot one heading toward Earth on a collision course.
I wonder if you can expand a little more about that, because this mission really is about planetary defense.
There are thousands of bodies in the solar system, and they haven't spotted all of them. The odds of an asteroid hitting the Earth with devastating impact, they're remote, but the consequences are extreme.
Evidence suggests one or more asteroids caused the mass extinction of dinosaurs on Earth. Scientists say they know of no asteroids that will impact Earth within the next century, but they're always searching.
It's something that we need to get done, and so that we know what's out there and know what's coming and have adequate time to prepare for it.
NASA says the DART mission is just the first in a series of experiments that will better prepare mankind to save the world from unknown threats. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
The DART spacecraft will start taking one picture a second when it is 1,000 miles away from striking the asteroid and send those images back to Earth. Telescopes on all 7 continents, along with the Hubble and Webb space telescopes, will also photograph the experiment. Well, still ahead at noon, in the mood for something warm and comforting? The Mr. Food Test Kitchen is cooking up a pot roast today that might be the easiest recipe ever.